If you want to get a job in cybersecurity or you want to further your career in cybersecurity, something you need to understand is threat and vulnerability management. So today I'm going to be showing you a little bit in Tenable. This is the point in the series where I'm excited because I've been waiting to get here, because today we're going to be going through some vulnerabilities. I'm going to be showing you how I assess vulnerabilities. By the way, there are multiple ways, and I don't even know that there's a written guide that says this is exactly how you should do it. Like, this is the de facto standard on how you should address vulnerabilities. So I'm going to give you Kendrick's way. So once again, you can always feel free to leave comments and ask me questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. But let's go ahead and get into this first. But we do need to thank the people who made this possible. So before we go there, I want to talk about Savatar.ai. This is actually where I work. This is my company. They sponsor the Tenable tenant that we're using. So very thankful to them for doing that. And here's the thing. There are lots of companies out there that will scan your network and tell you what vulnerabilities exist. They will do patching for you, but there are very few that will actually fix the vulnerabilities. And that's what makes us unique at Savatar. We actually identify the vulnerabilities, we fix them. We also have SentinelOne, we deploy that, SOC services and stuff like that, and all types of things. So basically, we are a one-stop shop for cybersecurity for small to medium business, and even some enterprises. We have some of those too. So that being the case, if you love to have a free trial, or if you're just not happy with your current cybersecurity program, check out Cybertar.ai. I'm telling you, like, we really do bust our butt to fix your vulnerabilities, because guess what? If you close the vulnerabilities or you remediate the vulnerabilities, guess what? People have a hard time trying to hack you because you have no doors or windows open that they can get into your organization and exploit. So anyway, thank you, Savatar, once again. So let's go ahead and jump back into the video here. So what I have here is, of course, we have the cybersecurity mentees. And some people ask me about the mentorship program. I'm not taking any new mentees right now because I want to make sure that all the mentees I currently have get jobs in cybersecurity. I want to make sure I've proven what I'm actually teaching. And so far, there's only one that's still working to get a job in cybersecurity. If there are any recruiters out there, I would love to hear from you to let me know if you're looking for somebody that's trained on Tenable and SentinelOne and patching and stuff like that, ready to go, entry level, actually a little bit beyond a lot of entry level people. Let me know. I got somebody for you. So anyway, let's start here. This is the Tenable main dashboard. Okay. And so right here, I typically start, if you want to get here, you just click on the logo here. And what you have is, I want to talk about the three different sections here. So I did explain this in the overview, so go back and watch the first video in the series if you want to understand that. But this is your Nessus scan. So this is Nessus scan is basically you install the Nessus scanner on a machine on the local subnet or the local network, and it scans other machines on the network for vulnerabilities, and you can actually do credential scan to get additional information. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, then stay tuned with the series and you'll learn more. We're going to get into credentials and stuff like that a little bit further into the series. But we're going to be looking at the Nessus agent scans. Here you see this is what we mostly have deployed. And the way this works is if you click on here, this is going to show you all the vulnerabilities. If you click on here, this is going to show you only the criticals, and this is going to show you the highs. I'm going to click on here, and this is going to take me to, these are some of the machines we have in here from the cybersecurity mentees and some of the vulnerabilities that we have. And you notice it has this like really cool query system. I use this heavily. So say for instance, right now I'm looking at, and I'll kind of explain. So source equals Nessus agent. And remember I told you in a previous video, you can have multiple. Nessus has many products. And so what it does is when it does the scan, it brings all these products into Nessus. Go ahead, Alexa. Like, my neighbor loves to go out when I'm doing recordings or on meetings, basically. So anyway, so that being the case, you can choose whichever source that you're using, whether it be the Nessus agent, it can be the Nessus scanner, which I just talked about, the scanning your local network. It can be your scanner that's out in the cloud, what they call the what do they call it? The external scanners, basically. And I think it's the Tenable cloud scanners is what they refer to. But basically, it's on the internet and it's scanning things that you can actually see from the internet. You can use that scanner, and it all gets aggregated, and you can see your vulnerabilities here. And you also have what's called a Tenable web application scan, which is also what you use to scan websites and interrogate them. Tenable can log into contact forms and other forms, basic forms, not the same as a pen test, by the way, and they can interrogate them. So let's look at these vulnerabilities. I know it's a long setup, so if you're still here, that means you're serious about it and you're the person I'm talking to anyway. So let's go through the different categories here. So we got the asset name. This is essentially the name of the computer. These are the IP addresses of the computer. These are like the private IP addresses, not the public addresses. But if this were a domain name, then you would probably see the public address, but there's no big deal because you could ping in and get the public address anyway, right? So you can see the severity right here, criticals, low, medium, highs, plugin name. And the way this works is, say for instance, the Google Chrome version is Google Chrome. Let's say it's 13 dot something or whatever. It's vulnerable. Well, what Tenable does is they assign a unique ID to each vulnerability, and they call that a plugin. So when you say plugin name, you're essentially talking about individual vulnerabilities, and plugin names may not necessarily be unique, but each of these vulnerabilities, which I'll show you in just a second, has a plugin ID, and that is unique. So if I have multiple macOS X Protect uninstalled vulnerabilities like this one, then I can actually go through those and I can actually differentiate between the different ones, because there may be different ones for different versions. Anyway, we'll get there more. VPR, I want you to really listen to this. Vulnerability Priority Rating. Okay, you know what the CVSS is, or you probably heard it, but if you haven't, Common Vulnerabilities and Scoring System, right? CVSS. And let me know if I fat finger some of this, but anyway, I'm going from memory. So a lot of times when you're doing these videos, you kind of, you'll say stuff wrong sometimes. But CVSS, Common Vulnerabilities and Scoring System, is what the governing bodies, who basically, it's like the official body that assigns a rating to vulnerabilities. And they usually assign a rating like critical, low, medium, and high, like to a vulnerability, right? And that's what the governing body does. But then Tenable, this is a Tenable metric. And I'm sure Qualys and other vulnerability scanners have something similar. Let me go ahead and zoom in for you. I want you to see this. Okay, make sure you see that. It's the VPR score. Once again, the Vulnerability Priority Rating. This is where Tenable takes additional information in addition to what the CVSS gave, and they say, okay, is this exploitable? Is it locally exploitable, remotely exploitable? They look at all the factors. What's the complexity? How hard is it actually to exploit this? And then Tenable will come back and say, okay, well, what the CVSS says, this is a 7.5, but we think it's only a 4.4, right? So based on a number of factors that they do. And that's the benefit of having a company like Tenable or somebody else, because they're giving you additional context to kind of understand these vulnerabilities. All right. So we're going to take some of these, and what I like to do is I want you to get comfortable with the query. Okay. Let's look at the query. Maybe I'll do a whole series on this. But once again, the source equals the Nessus agent. That just means what Nessus product that this data is coming from. Severity is equal to medium, high, medium, and critical. Well, sorry, medium, high, and critical. If I just want to look at criticals, I can modify the query here and just take that out. So severity is equal to critical. I encourage my team to look at this query. Some of the members are stubborn. You know who I'm talking to. They want to use the interface. And by the way, there is another option. I can show you there's an interface, but it's slow and it's clunky. You can learn this. If you can't learn this, you probably don't need to be in cybersecurity. I'm just saying, like, it's really easy stuff. Okay, so if I just want to look at criticals, I notice I filter to criticals. Now, risk modified. Okay, this is where in cybersecurity you can choose to accept the risk, or we can do what's called recast the risk. So that means if I see something, one of these vulnerabilities, for whatever reason, I know about it, but my organization needs this. They need Firefox version 13. We must have it. Then in that situation, I can choose to accept the risk, which means saying that I'm going to document it well, that we're going to run Mozilla Firefox 13. And we need to wrap around security controls and other mitigations in place, because we got to keep running it. And there are a lot of companies that are in place. Most of y'all are not in that position, by the way. Okay. Most of y'all are not. And most of y'all have lots of vulnerabilities that are lingering around, and you need to ask your security team some tough questions, because I can tell you that if you're a small to medium business, just about all of your vulnerabilities can be remediated. Okay. I want you to hear this. This is one of the lies of the security industry. People use that scapegoat all the time, because your MSPs who are moonlighting as cybersecurity companies and others, they don't want to fix all the vulnerabilities because it takes time. They just want to keep deploying the patches, which is the easy way. That's not what I'm teaching here. That's bull crap. The majority of vulnerabilities should be and can be remediated in the environment. And that is why companies like mine, like Savatar, work so freaking hard, because we're doing something that other companies are not willing to do, because it's not cost effective. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of research, a lot of intelligence. Okay. So that being the case, if you're looking at this, you got these vulnerabilities here. I've addressed it. I'm looking at the VPRs. I'm going to dig into these, and then I say, okay, well, I can't fix this. By the way, Microsoft Office unsupported channel version. I'm going to dig into these individual popular vulnerabilities. I'll probably even install some stuff, so that because I'm going to be going through these vulnerabilities and showing you different details to help you understand how to assess a vulnerability, how to understand, how to figure out how to remediate vulnerabilities. That's what I do every day at work. Okay. I'm teaching what I know, teaching what I do. Okay. So, but anyway, risk modified is not equal to accepted. So basically, we don't want a situation where we've accepted the risk, because if we do, why are we looking at it? Okay. So that's what you'll see here, right? So that's what this part of the query means. So you can say risk modified, and I'll show you there are other parameters. I'm going to show you all the parameters. And once you know the parameters, you can write the queries yourself and you can navigate this interface really easily. All right, and state is equal to active. So you can have active, resurfaced, or new. So vulnerability can be active, which means I discovered it. It can be resurfaced, which means I remediated it in the past. And it can be new, which means I just discovered it, okay? But you can also have is equal to fixed. And that's what we're looking at. Right now, we're looking at the vulnerabilities that have not been fixed. But if I modify my query, take out that space right there, didn't like that, then these are the vulnerabilities that have been fixed so far. That's very important, because when we're doing reporting for our customers at Savatar, we have to tell them what we fixed for that month or for that time period. Okay. That's how we show the value of our company. Does that make sense? Okay. So anyway, that being the case, you can do fix. And the thing is, if you want to do this, and let me zoom out, if you want to go and you want to say, oh, I'm going to be just a regular lame person and not actually learn the query that's really easy, then you can go over here. And one of my teammates probably gonna watch this video and probably be like, yo, I know what you're talking about. You was talking about me, what? Yes, I'm talking about you. So you can go here and you can go to this advanced filter. And over here, you've got all the different metrics. So if you're just beginning and you want to know the metrics, like for instance, risk modified, okay, you can say equal to, recast it, accepted, not accepted. This is the same thing that was in a query. And notice when I click on this advanced button, that's the query mode. And when I click on this, it goes to this actual, like, I don't want to like type a little simple query, and I want to actually go through and have it hold my hand. I'm being myself on this video, by the way. Sorry. I usually try to keep my personality tone back a little bit more neutral, but hey, I'm just being me today. Okay. So anyway, bottom line is you can see the different sources, Nessus agents. You got the cloud scanner. Let me zoom in. I want you to see this. This is really important though. Okay. So I will say there's value here. Okay. Put this in here. So these are all the different Nessus sources, right? So for instance, this is how you can also learn and break down a product. So you can add, I don't know what ASM is. I know AWS, it's Amazon. They have the Amazon frictionless assessment. You got Azure, the Azure frictionless assessment. By the way, frictionless assessment is a tool that's actually moved into the cloud, Tenable cloud products, or in a Tenable one, which is a combination of Tenable vulnerability management and Tenable cloud. But basically, it's like a scanner that's already embedded inside the AWS, Azure, or GCP environment that allows you to be able to interrogate different assets within those cloud environments without having to install the actual scanner on them, because there's some cloud technology that you can install the scanner on. So it allows you to do a whole bunch of cool things. So you see GCP, that's Google Cloud. Okay. So GCP is Google Cloud. You got the Nessus scanner, the Nessus network monitor. Okay. That's another one that you basically, it's almost like if you think like a firewall, you can do, or a switch, you can mirror port, send that traffic to the Nessus network monitor, and it can actually do like packet level interrogation and stuff like that. So having worked with N&M very much. Then it says ServiceNow, then web application. That's the scanner I talked about before that allows you to be able to go into to scan a website, log into forms and stuff like that. So basically, if I only wanted to look at my web application scans, I can filter down here. But once again, once you know these parameters, and there is value in looking at this in the beginning, then you can actually take that and you can use that to go up here and click again to the advanced mode, and you can start using your queries. Okay. And then you can see right here at the bottom, I'll bring this up just a little bit so you can see this, that you also have your state: active, fixed, new, and resurface. These are the same things I plugged into the queries. And what you can do is you can go into select filters and you can add all these different topics, right? So if you want to go, and I don't mind you like looking at the parameters first, but once you learn the parameters, switch to query mode. Okay. Promise me you will. Okay. All right. So that being the case, now we're going to go and we're going to dig into the actual vulnerabilities here. So I'm not taking a specific one. I'm just showing you the information. I need you to like pay attention to this. It's very important. I'm going to move myself off of here because I need you to see all of this. Okay. So here's the deal. All right. So this is the name of the vulnerability, the plugin name. The plugin ID is over here. Now I want you to understand these are different sections. This section is asset information. This is about the machine, the host. Okay. This is vulnerability information. I'm just showing you how from the vulnerability page, how it shows it. When I get to the asset page, it's going to be different. Okay. Show you how that works. And that's going to be menu and assets. We'll get there. Okay. And then our overview basically it explains it. Tenable even gives you what the fix is. Upgrade to curl version 8.4 later. And then it gives you plugin output. And this is not a good example here, but let's say go to Mozilla Firefox. Not a good. Oh, well, hold on. Am I looking at fix? Let me go back. Let me filter back here. Okay, so I'm going to click on the top. This is how I always go back to the main menu. Go back to the vulnerabilities. Look at the open vulnerabilities. And let's say we'll take this one right here. And let's see if we get plugin. Okay, this is what I want you to see. Okay, perfect. Okay, so plugin output. This is where it gives you the detail. When it performs the scan and stuff like that, the plugin output section will tell you kind of like, okay, here's the details of what, and this will aid you in being able to assess, understand, and remediate the vulnerability. Okay, so let's start with the asset. Give it its name, IP address, give it IPv6, give us the operating system, give us its DNS name, and then also something very important. When we get to the asset portion, and you definitely want to know this, is when we start talking about this, it's going to be the first seen. When was the asset first seen in Tenable? Okay, last seen. When's the last time it actually communicated to whatever Tenable product discovered it? Last authenticated scan. This is the last time any Tenable product, whether it's the Nessus scanner or the Nessus agent, when was the last time it was able to scan the device to get an assessment for vulnerabilities? Because here's the deal. If it's an agent scan, the device has to be online at the time of the scan. Okay. If it's not online at the time of the scan, then guess what? You don't get updated information. So if I scan a device today, I remediate the vulnerability, the scan's tomorrow, but the device is offline, I don't get a new scan. And my last authenticated scan is going to show that, hey, the last time I scanned was today. Okay. So 2 or 3 days in the future, I get a scan again. The last authenticated scan will be that day, and it will update the vulnerability list. So just remember, you scan it, you remediate it, and then you got to scan it again to confirm that the vulnerability has been remediated. And then last license scan, that typically is going to be, I don't know if there's an unlicensed. I don't know the difference between like doing unlicensed and licensed scan, because all of our scans are probably going to be licensed. But anyway, you notice that date is actually the same and same as that. So typically first seen, last authenticated scan is what I'm looking at. Now, the center column, this is related to the vulnerability. Once again, the patch was published 8/5/2022. Exploitability ease, and this is what like Tenable's giving you some metrics here. Some of this information is coming from the CVSS, no known exploits. The CVSS base score, so it's giving you once again the common vulnerability score system. This is giving you the scores related to it, 7.8. Give me some of this information. I am not as familiar with this. I'll be honest with this. Well, I'll tell you, I'll teach what I know. This information, protocol, TCP. And once again, if you're not familiar with networking, you need to get some networking skills. I got a video on my channel that shows you how to get 5 free hours. Just look for 5 free hours of network training with Juniper, okay? And I'll teach you how to go into that training and get it for free, no strings attached, okay? First seen. This is the first time that the vulnerability was seen, 10/29/2023. Last seen. So that means if you look here, I haven't had the last authenticated scan was 10/29. This device could be offline. This device could be decommissioned. This device could have been formatted, stolen, etc. All these things you have to figure out, and you have to get into what's called IT asset management to understand exactly, okay, if this device hasn't been scanned recently, what is the status of this device? Very important. That's why this all gets really complicated, and it's a lot of work if you want to do it the right way, but doing it the right way yields amazing results because your clients get actually protected. Okay, and then we get to the VPR. This is the Tenable metrics. VPR score, remember they said, the CVSS said their base score is 7.8, as you can see right here. Tenable says, it's about a 6.7. Threat intensity, very low. Exploit code maturity, unproven, okay? So age of the vulnerability, 366 to 730 days. Product coverage, very high. I'm not sure about these metrics. These are things I'll be able to look at as I dig into these, but it's not something, once again, I'm teaching you kind of what my workflow is, and I haven't found these to be as helpful. The CVSS impact score, 5.9. Basically, I typically just go by the VPR, okay? And then finally, the overview. Once again, it gives you details of what we're looking at, tells you about it. And in most cases, they're going to tell you exactly what you need to do to fix it. So, I mean, what more can you ask for? That's why you buy a product like Tenable, so you don't have to figure this out yourself. They're going to tell you, right? And even the CVSS is going to give you information, upgrade to this version. But there are some that don't have it, and that's where you have to do some figuring out. But that's where the Tenable comes in, because Tenable gives you additional information, and they give you this plug-in information here. And so once you do that, you can actually click See All Details, and that's going to take you here. And this gives you kind of a different view, so you can see different information about the asset that affected. You can see it, and it just displays it here in a better form. And so we're at 20 minutes at this point. I'm going to stop here. This is the part where I've been trying to get to. Installing the agents and all that stuff, that's what stuff you got to do. But getting into the vulnerability assessment and stuff like that, man, I absolutely love this stuff. I love actually making companies secure. So if this video was helpful, like it. If you made it to this point in the video, I want you to type 2.14.0. That is the actual installed version for this Dell client BIOS. So 2.14.0. Type that in chat. That lets me know who made it to the end of the video. And I'm thinking about maybe doing like some giveaways, so maybe like some consulting time to kind of talk through people about what you're doing in cybersecurity, some of the things, see where you're at, assessments, resume assessments and stuff like that. So I'm thinking about doing some of those things to get back to the community, because y'all have helped me to get to 16K, and I'm already like 1/10, I'm like almost at, almost knocked down another 100. So I'm fastly going towards 17,000 on YouTube right now. So I want to be able to kind of say thank you to all y'all that are supporting the channel, man. So start being more verbal, leave the feedback, let me know that you got to this point in the video, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to holler at y'all, okay? And I'm going to see if I can hook y'all up, and I'm going to keep training and teaching y'all. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to like the video, or like, and subscribe to the channel. Peace.